Last week, a story came out about Keke Palmer getting a temporary restraining order on her child's father, Darius Jackson, with reports of domestic violence, abuse, death threats. Apparently, there's a video of some of these alleged abuses and violent acts. Only reason I say alleged is because I have not watched it because I don't want to put that on my spirit. And I believe her. Like, I don't need to go into that much detail to believe her. And apparently that puts me in the minority. I am genuinely disgusted with my fellow man today. It's not the first time I've been genuinely disgusted with my fellow man, but it kind of hit a point to where I'm looking at the replies to this story and it's everything but damn, that's messed up that Keke Palmer's baby father was abusing her. I hope her and their child, who's not even one yet, are okay and safe. Bare minimum response, right? Instead, the gender wars just continue. And I know people here for sports podcasts. Don't worry. We're going to tie this into sports a little bit later. I'm going to bring it back. Don't you worry. Don't leave yet. And I'm watching these responses and I'm reading and they just get darker and darker and darker. Some going as far as she deserves it. I should have beat her too. It's like, God damn, like, how have we gone from protect and provide, head of household, we should have standards as men and all that fun shit. And I hate that I'm doing this. I try my best to stay out of the gender war topics and relationship this and what role should you play in your relationship. I hate that shit. But I find this necessary. If at bare minimum as a man, you cannot flat out say this woman does not deserve to be beat. Like, do y'all remember the story of the woman who got hit in the face with a brick or was allegedly hit in the face with a brick because there were reports that it was fake that were later disproven and then reproven and not proven? And lady that was hit in the face with a brick. There were people coming out saying that she deserved it. And at that point, I was like, yo, we can't agree that a woman shouldn't be hit in the face with a brick? At bare minimum, we can't agree on that. Like, we can't get off of our He-Man Woman Haters Club side of the aisle to just come over and be like, you can get back to talking about how women should be more like your grandmother tomorrow. We can get back to that if that's your prerogative. But if for today, you can't at least be like, damn, yo, ladies, that's fucked up. We shouldn't be hitting women in the side of the face with bricks. That's fucked up. Never had to go through that. For a day, one day, that's too much to ask for. And with Keke to see the same thing, to make it even more disturbing, what really, really got to me and what made me have to talk about it right now was the stories of women sharing their experiences after reading the Keke story. Heinous video game villain, comic book villain level shit that these men are doing to these women. And again, instead of going the route of sympathy, the men jump to, you're lying, you're making this up for clout, you're making this up for attention. Everything except the bare minimum of, damn, yo, that's fucked up, that happened to you. That's just bare minimum. That's not pandering. It's not pick me shit. That's called human decency of the absolute bar being on the crust of the earth of you should not get hit with a brick. Is that so hard to say? Is that so difficult? And it makes me wonder if it's a generational thing. How did we get and fall so far to where subjects of abuse are not even enough to make us go to our women and be like, damn, bruh, we should be here to support you in any way. Here's why I figured out it's not a generational thing, and it's just a men thing in general. And this is where the tie into sports comes in. I spoke about Deshaun Watson earlier. Obviously, it's not domestic violence. It's a very different situation. How do we talk about Deshaun Watson? Earlier, I was watching First Take, and Molly Karen was introducing a segment about the Browns and Ravens game. And I heard her have to enthusiastically say, how about Deshaun Watson in that Baltimore Ravens game? And honestly, I threw up in my mouth a little bit. And I don't know where Molly Karam's stances are about whether she believes whatever Deshaun Watson did was what he did. That's between her. I don't know if she said it in an interview or anything. I didn't take the chance to look into it at all. But I gotta imagine that's just uncomfortable for everyone. to have to talk about. Me personally, as far as where I stand on the Deshaun Watson thing, I just don't believe that many women are lying. Straight up. That's where I landed on the Bill Cosby thing as well. That's just where I land on a lot of the issues. Everybody isn't lying. Even if one of them are telling the truth, you are a predatory motherfucker and you should be punished for it. To me, that's simple. But he's still in the league and people have to cheer for him on Sunday. Some Browns fans take it extremely far and they're out there with the signs talking about there's nothing wrong with a happy ending and massage me to Sean and all. Y'all saw the signs when I'm not even going to attach them because I'm pretty sure to get this video taken down. But y'all saw the signs. So one day I had to talk to a friend of mine who is a Browns fan and one of the most moral people I know. I did not ask him if I could talk about this conversation on the podcast. If not, I will call him by name, but I won't do that to him. I asked him, I said, verbatim, you are one of the most moral people I know. You are also a Browns fan. How do you rationalize rooting for Deshaun Watson on your team? Because obviously, if you're rooting for a team, you cannot also root for your team and not root for the quarterback of your team, who touches the ball every play, right? Fact about my friend. He's a former attorney, and he was able to pierce and parse through all the legal terms and legal definitions of Deshaun Watson's case and go into minutia and detail as to how he can justify to himself rooting for Deshaun Watson. For him, I say cool, because the legal terminology that he knows, right above my head. So if that's how he's able to come to that conclusion, I can accept that. That is not the answer for everybody. We can lie about it, but we know that's not the answer for everybody. A lot of the answer is, Deshaun Watson's on my team. I don't care what he did. Bet. How do I know this? This situation is domestic abuse. Tyreek Hill. Nobody talks about the fact that he beat his pregnant girlfriend, put her in the hospital. Nobody talks about it, except for a couple of people who respond to his tweets on Twitter. No one talks about it in mass media. We talk about his race to 2,000 yards every chance we get. We talk about him being the fastest receiver in football. And I'm guilty of it too, which is why I keep saying we and not y'all. I'm guilty of it too. Because every time we talk about these players, we can't be like, Tyreek Hill goes for 10 catches, 150 yards, and he also beat his pregnant girlfriend a couple years back. Like, I get logistically why we don't do it, but it feels like we go from logistics to flat out, this does not matter because he's good at sport. And there's several other examples I can get into. Ben Roethlisberger is going to go into the Hall of Fame in 2 or 3 years. How many people are going to bring up the fact that he was suspended for sexually assaulting a woman in a bathroom? How many people are going to bring that up? The Giants kicker, whose name I can't remember right now, Josh Brown or Lawrence Time, one of the two, who came out and confessed in a diary that he religiously beat his wife repeatedly. We can go on and on about these stories. There's a lot of them. That's just kind of commonplace in sports. And that's just football. Before we start venturing into other sports, Miles Bridges is supposed to make his debut with the Hornets any day now. And it really just makes me think, how do we as men be better about this? I genuinely don't have an answer. And I wanted to approach some of these women that were telling these stories about their domestic violence experiences, but it's a hard subject to approach for several reasons. One, you don't know where they're at with the subject issue and the subject line. If you have a bad history with men, the last thing you want to hear probably is, me man, me here to save you. How can I help? Probably not a good entryway. And also, how are my intentions going to be perceived if I'm coming in like, hey, how do we as men do better? But genuinely, from the bottom of my heart and the top left of my kidney, I want to know, how do we as men do better at bare minimum about the domestic violence thing? We can work on the rest of the gender wars later, but I need to start here. And I hate to do I have a sister, a mother, and me, because I care about this on a level of human. But I have 4 little sisters, ranging from the age of 4 months old to my oldest little sister turns 18 tomorrow by the time y'all hear this. Happy birthday, Jasmine. I love you so much. To say I fear for them is an understatement. This generation they're growing up in, dog. I know as an older brother, we all say, oh, we're going to beat the you know what out of whoever touches them. But that's reactionary. That's not preventative. The damage is already done by then. And to say that that doesn't ring in my head all the time, I'd be lying to you.